science, that's the way in to a very powerful awareness. So let me just begin by this. 1991, a profound discovery was made. It was published in peer-reviewed journals. You may not have heard about it because it usually takes maybe 15 years for these discoveries to trickle down into the common knowledge and into textbooks. It was a discovery regarding the heart itself. What they found in 1991 was discovery. The journals published it in 2004, so it's 10 years ago this year. So this is relatively recently. That your heart, because this is personal, you and me, that our hearts contain about 40,000 cells that are called sensory neurites. That's a really fancy word for brain-like cells. Our hearts have their own brain. That changes everything. Our heart has its own brain. It's called Heart Intelligence, 1994, Oxford University Press. Armour was the one that identified this. What he said about the heart brain is this. He said the heart's brain allows it to act, and listen to this, independent, bless you, two more, they always come in threes. The heart's brain allows it to act independent of the cranial brain to learn and remember and feel and sense. Your heart has a brain that is separate and independent from the cranial brain, and it works with the cranial. This is the cranial brain, this is the heart brain. Once the discovery was made, it began to answer a lot of questions, and some of them were anecdotal. For example, when technology advanced to the point where we could do heart transplants first, and then organ transplants, because they found that these sensory neurites exist in other organs now as well, though not in the high numbers that they do in the heart. When they first were doing heart transplants, anecdotally, what would happen is the person that was the successful recipient, if it wasn't successful, it didn't work. But the successful recipient, I'll just give you an example. 80-year-old woman, University Hospital in Houston, received a heart. Legally, they cannot know who they come from, so you don't know usually who the donor is, or where the heart has come from. She woke up, the doctor said, "How do you feel?" She said, "Fine." He said, "Your procedure was a success." She said, "That's good." She goes, "I'm hungry. I'd like to get some food." He says, "Okay, I'll have the hospital send you up some food." She says, "I don't want that kind of food." 80 years old, she began to crave foods that she had never craved in 80 years of her life. She never had. She wanted French fries, but not just any kind. Take a guess. What kind? We saw the icons. McDonald's French fries. She wanted chocolate shake, not just any kind. McDonald's shakes. She'd never had those before. And they did a little research and found that her heart had come from a 13-year-old boy, and those happened to be his favorite foods. The doctor said, isn't that a coincidence? And left. All right, so those kinds of things were happening for a while, and that was suggesting something's going on. But here's the one that nailed it, and this is very well documented in the open literature. There was a woman in her 30s that received, I believe she was in her 30s, she received successfully a heart transplant. It was successful technically, but she began to have problems sleeping and reoccurring nightmares. And actually it was the same nightmare again and again and again. She recounted it vividly, and the doctor finally referred her to a psychologist who brought in a forensic artist. In the nightmare, she saw someone chasing her, someone caught her, someone assaulted her, and someone killed her. And she saw it so clearly, she was able to give the forensic artist details. They put out in an all-points bulletin APB, a man fit that description, was arrested, he was brought in, he was questioned, he was actually charged, tried, and convicted of the murder of the young girl whose heart was now in the body of the woman that witnessed it. I get goosebumps saying that. Okay, how did that woman know? The memory was still in the tissues of her body, was still in her heart. That may have been the greatest gift because it opened the door to scientists saying this is a real phenomenon. And and now they take it seriously, and now we know that our heart literally has its own brain. It works independently, can learn, remember, feel, and sense, and it also works with the cranial brain. This is why I'm saying to you right now, heart intelligence, this link between the heart and the brain, may be the most empowering thing that you have from the time we shared together tonight. What we did only moments ago is one of the techniques to link the heart and the brain. So now you have a technique, a tangible, concrete technique to link your heart and your brain together, and it does much more than those 1,400 biochemical reactions. Heart intelligence. First of all, the heart thinks faster than the brain. The brain, when you're thinking about something, you're going through all the filters, all the logic, your culture, your family, your society, your religion, all the things you've learned. That is slow. Your heart doesn't do that. Boom, boom, boom. Your heart thinks really fast. Okay? So let me tell you how fast. Men, close your ears just for a minute. Ladies, I want to tell you a secret. Guys, I'll be your secret in just a minute. The studies have shown, ladies, that our heart intelligence, intuition is what you would call it, works so fast that a woman will generally know within 40 seconds of meeting a potential life partner that this is the one. 40 seconds you will know whether or not you're compatible. You will take 5, 8, 10 years to prove it to your mind. In a marriage or relationship where if you'd listened to the intuition, you could have saved yourself anything beyond those 40 seconds. Okay, ladies, don't listen to this. Guys, I got to tell you, this is the story. Good news and bad news. The bad news is the researchers found that our hearts actually are a little slower on the uptake, knowing whether or not the woman in front of us or the partner is a potential life partner. The reason is because every human that passes in front of us is a potential life partner. So, ladies, you're laughing. You weren't supposed to be listening. I mean, think about that. As a double cancerian, I wish I had known that years ago. There's a story going on there. It's another workshop. So our heart intelligence, it's fast.